Welcome to Dig In, the podcast that lives at the intersection of hospitality and entrepreneurship. Here we will explore the stories of the owners, operators, and curators of America's hottest hospitality concepts, sharing a deeper look at the people delivering excellence from their mind's eye to your taste buds. I'm your host, Zach Woods, and I'm ready to dig in.
Hey everybody, Zach Woods here, your host with Dig In, and keeping with decorum for the way we ran things in season one, we wanted to kick off this season just with an introduction episode, an appetizer, if you will, to keep the food theme going. To be honest, this is my second time recording this because the first time I was so all over the place and just excited and thanking everyone. I think I thought I was accepting an Oscar or something. I thank so many people, or I should say, I was thanking them in a non-linear, sequential way, which I think that was the issue. Being thankful was not the issue, and I will continue to do that in this recording. Just to sort of set the tone for what you all as the listeners can expect for season two. You know, to be really honest, and this comes from the bottom of my heart, we've come a long way. It feels like I've been on this journey now for quite a while. I mean, almost a year in a certain way. And even though some people might say, hey, you know, a year, how in the hell is it taking you a year to do 15 podcast episodes, dude? Like, what are you doing? I can tell you that I've really worked hard to, especially in season two, to elevate the levels entirely. Really and truly, guys, I think season one was an experiment in a lot of ways. First and foremost, to validate that this conception of hospitality and entrepreneurship and kind of where those two things meet is the space that I want to explore, and I completely validated that. And I think in validating that, I realized, wow, I want to triple down on the line between hospitality and entrepreneurship. And I think what that means in concrete terms is season two has truly been just a total growth mode for the entire Dig In brand. And hopefully, as you all will hear, see, and feel, the product that comes out of that augmentation in work. So, you know, I think a couple of main updates are we've gone coast to coast with season two. So we've brought in people from all the way out in California. We branched out of New York on the East Coast. We did some work down in the Southeast as well, representing the 864. My guy Jaime Cribb. We'll talk about him in a little bit. We're so excited for that. Another thing that's new inside of the season two launch is we're going to have a number of different things coming out throughout the season that are specifically related and geared toward driving user engagement, getting people excited. Those things are such as discount codes, right? Discount codes should not be the reason that you listen to the show explicitly, but we're excited that each and every one of the brands that we've talked to or the companies that we've spoken with in this season have agreed to offer, you know, various swag, discounts at their restaurants, dollar amounts, substantial dollar amounts off of their subscription services, free boxes of shit, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be really cool. Another thing that we've added this season, and I'm particularly excited about this one, and now's where the thanks will begin, is a segment called the Curator's Corner. You know, in reflecting on what Dig In, you know, has a unique insight into, I really began to think, wow, you know, this is a really privileged position that we have to be speaking to so many leaders in the hospitality space, and why not get their recommendations of the places they personally love to dine at, to drink at, to stay overnight at in cities across the entire United States. I can honestly say I've personally experimented with the value of these recommendations. I've gone to cities like Nashville and cities like Austin, Texas, and of course in my own city, New York, on the recommendations of my guests. They say in the startup world, eat your own dog food first. And I can tell you, I think you guys will be super duper stoked about the recommendations that you get. I think the one caveat to that I'll mention is that particular piece of the show is going to be behind a service called glow.fm. So one of the shout outs that I really owe to, I think, the evolution of Dig In as a show in the first place, but certainly to season 2 and kind of as we've continued to build out the product and think more holistically about what we're doing here, are the guys from Acquired, which is a gentleman named Ben Gilbert, who's the co-founder of Pioneer Square Labs, which is half venture studio and half venture capital fund, as well as David Rosenthal, his co-host, who is also a general partner at a venture capital fund out of San Francisco called Wave Capital. These guys are just making such incredible content. And I think the reason they're making such incredible content is because they both truly love the topic that they're discussing. So for anybody that's interested in business building, VC, how it works, how it doesn't work, and everything in between, tune into the Acquired.fm podcast. I think to get back to the original point, which was Acquired was actually part of the founding team, or I should say Ben and Pioneer Square Labs are part of the founding team of a service that's now completely spun out of the Pioneer Square Labs startup studio called glow.fm. And in partnership with Glow, Dig In has been chosen as a company to actually work with them on ways that podcasters, creators, such as what we're doing here, can really monetize their product. So consider it a little bit of an experiment, but an experiment that I'm certainly happy about getting into. In terms of the episodes for the season, right, the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the reason why you all are here, we are running the gamut. So I just thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a teaser of the places that we're going to be, the people that we're going to feature, the types of stories that we're going to dig into, and also give a special thanks to each and every person that introduced me or brought me into contact with that venue, just to keep the love going. So season 2, episode 1, Farm to People. That's Michael Robinov. And I got to give a shout out to Charlotte Allen. Everything farm related, coming to your door, sourcing from most delicious farms in all of New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. Unbelievable. A second shout out to Jaime Cribb from the Kennedy. That's down in South Carolina, right in my neck of the woods, still in the 864. I owe a special thank you to my sister, Erica. She introduced me to this place, and when she told me that, hey, Spartanburg's got a restaurant that I really think you're really gonna pay attention to, being in New York, you're a little spoiled for choice, and I didn't doubt her because I trust her taste. Blown away. Farm to table, 35 local vendors within like a 50-mile radius of the place. During the interview, he had to deal with the tomato guy that was dropping off tomatoes. Just unbelievable. This guy's so special, and I think anybody that's getting down to the South Carolina area is going to have a wonderful dinner at the Kennedy. We then move on to a slightly different expansion, and luckily season 2's got a number of twists and turns, which I'm excited about. But the Indigo Road, we got the chance to sit down for over an hour with the managing director of the Indigo Road, a gentleman named Steve Palmer, who I'll recount how I introduced myself to him. I literally cold called this guy and confessed that I had been following the growth of his business for the last 5 years. And that was the truth. I really am invested in this hospitality thing. I love hospitality tremendously. I love the food and restaurant business. And he and his executive assistant, Laura Bernard, who I owe a huge thank you to, were incredible and instrumental in getting that connected. Also, total shout out to Steve, who's got a book coming out later this year. He was the only restaurant named to Forbes' Small Giant list. These guys employ almost 1,000 people. They have 25-something concepts in 6 cities throughout the Southeast: Raleigh, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Charleston. The list goes on. They're just doing incredible things. And I think anyone with a taste for the business aspects of the hospitality industry is going to want to tune into that episode specifically. We then go out to the West Coast with a restaurant called Bell's, which is in Los Alamos, California. Bell's is just a dream, literally a French bistro or French bistro. Greg, you'll have to tell me if I got that pronunciation right. A total gem. You would never expect to find this place 2-ish hours north of Los Angeles out in Cali. But Greg and Daisy Ryan, the husband and wife duo that are both per se alums, they worked under the tutelage of potentially America's most preeminent chef, Thomas Keller, and they are just dishing out deliciousness all over the place. Greg is a wealth of knowledge. He has done everything from per se to the Beverly Hills Hotel, opened multiple restaurants in Austin, Texas, with a different restaurant group, and now put his own stake in the ground with Bell's alongside his wife. And I don't think he or I could be more excited about the work that they're doing. Where they're going to be working with a guy named Aaron Cook from Charley Street, which is a fast casual coffee shop / healthy, nutritious food place here in Manhattan. I actually originally met Aaron as a part of his ownership in a really great trendy coffee shop with Australian flavor called 3 Seat Espresso in the East Village of Manhattan. And to that I owe a special thanks to Mr. Courtney, aka the Court Walk, host of the Privy Podcast, co-founder of Stereotype NYC. Just an unbelievable place, and I think also really a word of warning regarding the pits and falls that are present, or ever present, I should say, in opening up concepts like this. 3 Seat Espresso, regrettably, is going to be closing at the end of 2019. But Aaron Cook and his partners at Charley Street are continuing to push on in their other concept. But of course, a part of opening these businesses is the risk that they don't work out for a variety of reasons. So that's something that we're also going to dig into really in season 2. And then lastly, we close out the season with Raaka Chocolate and their CEO, a gentleman named Ryan Cheney. Such a cool story about the combination of, I just want to learn how to make chocolate so I can get to new levels of my yoga and meditation practice, and how 10 plus years later, this guy's been running one of the most incredible medium-sized chocolate businesses in the entire United States. You can find Raaka chocolates in Whole Foods, other high-end grocery retailers, and as well as in all of the Jenny's ice cream that you might have eaten even while you're listening to this episode. So with that said, guys, I'm super duper stoked. I think that hopefully this season, literally from audio quality to interview quality to actionable outcomes or actionable insight and advice that you can take from the earphones that you're listening to this in and into your fingers for typing that next kick-ass email to start your business. We're really looking to inspire people that have a passion for hospitality and an itch to do something for themselves. Hopefully these 6 episodes are really going to concrete for you that those dreams are possible and something that absolutely can be attained with a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. So without further ado, I'm going to cut this. Be ready for the drop of Michael Robinov's episode for Farm to People in the coming days. Thanks so much. Looking forward to you guys joining in.
When I'm off the juice, yeah.